All right. Let's start. So this is Mr. Adam from Turkey's Academy of Science Charter School. We have also Mr. Kovar on the online from Utica Academy of Science Charter School.
Hello, everyone.
So we are both college guidance. Since SANY, Science Academies of New York, has multiple schools, we decided to make this session together, and then we invited both schools so that we can merge our resources to make it even a better presentation. So we have been making these presentations, this series since last week. It's a series of 4 workshops or 4 sessions. The first 2 sessions, they were more readiness sessions. Readiness means getting ready in the previous years. So talking about starting from all the way down to the middle school years, like 7th grade, all the way up to the 11th grade, even including the summer of the senior year. So maybe you would say September and October of the senior year. So that was what we've been discussing last 2 weeks. And then when we were talking about those topics last week in these 2 sessions, 1 week we talked about the academics, the other one was non-academic issues, also called extracurricular activities. So this week we are moving on to onto the senior year presentation. Actually 2 presentations this week, today and Thursday. Today we will be talking about the application process. So we're going to talk about common application, how to fill it, and then writing the essay, letters of recommendations, and everything related to that application process. A lot of people think that, all right, senior year is the year that we get ready. Actually, it's not. Senior year is pretty much the time that the students make the applications. So we are hoping that all our students are being ready by the time they become a senior, in terms of completing a number of activities, having a solid GPA, SAT score, which is going to be optional for next year only, and so on and so forth. Today we will be talking about this application process, and it's just applying to colleges and how to follow up with them. On Thursday we will be talking about the financial aid. When I say financial aid, it's practically, we will be talking about the federal and state resources, the college resources, other resources, how to apply for them, and then what are the important steps to, complete that whole process. So it's a 4 session series, and then we are hoping that we'll be able to put those 4 sessions online on our district website, or we will share the links one way or another. So if anyone misses any sessions out of these 4, they'll be able to come back and listen to that. So let's start for today's session. Today we will be talking about the application process. We are assuming that the student has been, thinking about college. They've been really planning on college, going to college, applying to college, and then they become a senior or end of junior year, let's say. And then including the summer, there's things that could be done to make the process better. So they don't have to wait for September of the senior year. Any junior right now may start, working on the application process. And then we'll talk about them. But 2 things that they can do right now. One of them is essay. Essay is crucial part, a very important part of the application. And right now is a great time that our teachers or college essay guys will talk about it. We'll be able to offer some support in terms of writing the essay. And then common application is already open. That's the second thing that could be done in terms of making the college applications. So we'll start with a brief part. So Kovar, would you like to take this?
Yes, as you mentioned, for previous 2 sessions, we were talking about the whole application. And we start with the college readiness. We talked about the rigor of the school's curriculum. So what courses you have been taking, were there honors, were they dual credit, the importance of the dual credit courses, AP courses, and your GPA also was the second part of our presentation. How important is the GPA? With the good GPA and the SAT scores, you can almost get like free rides for every single school, and a lot of scholarships. We talked about those. We talked about the SAT and the ACT differences, and if you are native English speaker, if you are not native English speaker, we talked about the TOEFL scores and the importance of the TOEFL scores and IELTS scores. But as you mentioned, this year it's kind of that standardized tests are kind of optional right now because of the COVID-19 situations. So we talked about those. And also we talked about the extracurricular activities and the importance of the extracurricular activities and what extracurricular activities you need to choose, where they need to be related with your future career or the major that you're going into, and the importance of the relationship between those extracurricular activities and your major. And today we are going to be talking about the essay part, teacher recommendation part, and how we can put all those things together in one application and send it to the colleges. So we're going to be talking about those things today. So I think it's time to start with the essay. So essays are not only one thing. Like I write one essay, I'm done with it. I'm not gonna change it. I'm gonna submit it to everybody. Actually, they are not working like that. So essays are the written expressions that the college admission counselors will read you from those essays. So that's why these essays are so important, and you need to take time to write them. You will be maybe writing different drafts, going back, combining maybe 2-3 of them together, and then at the end you're gonna get the final results. So and if you start early for this process, that's gonna be really put you ahead in the game, because you will have time to write more than one essays, and you have time to read all of them again, you know, get yourself together, get your thoughts together, and then get a great final draft. And then once you get that final draft, you will have time to give it to your maybe a ELA teacher or your counselor, so they can also proofread, and then they can look, and then they can give you some feedbacks. And after that, based on those feedbacks, you may need to maybe change a couple, you know, sentences, maybe a couple, 1 or 2 paragraphs, and after that you will get the whole entire well-rounded essays. So please do not be afraid to get, you know, negative feedbacks on them, because those are not finals yet. So you will have time to rewrite them, and you will have time to correct what you did, any mistake if you have one in those essays. And this is the first thing, like you should start early, as early as possible, and you should write more than one draft. The second thing, as I said, you know, make sure you gave them to your teacher or your counselor so they can proofread. And the third thing, maybe one essay might not fit for all the colleges. Maybe you need to trim down or add more based on the college that you're applying. So be open to change some things in your essay based on the college that you are applying to. And this is the general one. This is the general essay. And some other schools might have also supplemental essay. And generally they are asking, why us? Why you took a college? You know, what do you think you took a college will add you? Or what do you think, what can you bring in to do you took a college? So those type of questions might, additional essays might be in the applications based on the college that you are applying into. So be ready to write additional supplemental essays, based, you know, besides that essay, the whole essay that you created before. And as I said, if I come back to the first thing that I said, these essays are reflecting you. No one but you can only write these essays because you know yourself better than everyone else. And when we go to the SUNY college fairs with Mr. Oz, one of the admission counselors said that with 2 or 3 sentences, I can understand if this is written by you, means student, or someone else from, maybe you hired somebody to write it for you, or you ask one of your family members to write it for you, or you just copy and paste it from somewhere else. He literally said that with 2 or 3 sentences, if I read from top, I can understand if this is that student or someone else is write it for him. So that's why you need to be writing your essays for yourself, if it is the correct sentences. Mr. Al, if you want to add something.
I want to re-emphasize the importance of writing drafts, because sometimes you feel that, oh, I'm going to write, I have struggled with all these years, and you end up writing something that really doesn't represent you. Or maybe then you say, all right, let me write another essay because I'm an athlete. Let me write about basketball, let's say. All right, and then you say, oh, I have this specific historical activity I've been involved with so many years, and write about it. So if you start writing a couple different drafts, you're going to see one of them really represents you more than others. That's why, I always tell the students write multiple drafts. And when it comes to the application, a lot of times supplemental essays comes up. Those are extra essays. Then you end up using the extra drafts for the supplemental essays, because you don't want to use the original essay, which is the most important one, for everything. You already use it for the coming up essay, but then once the supplemental essay comes, you don't have to start from scratch. So that's important. And then number 2, this college essay guy is a great resource. We've been really utilizing them. That both Syracuse and Utica, both of our schools, have provided how to join the meetings from college essay guy. This gentleman, I'm gonna try to share my screen, but we are in the presentation mode. Let me see if I can go to the other one, and I'll show you. College essay guy. He has a boot camp this June. College essay guy. He's normally a professional, mentor, charging students for helping them. But he really is a lot of support to the community. So he has been offering a lot of help in the last couple of years to our schools, as he's giving free online resources. And this June, starting next week, actually June 1st through 5th, he's going to make a quick boot camp for the college essay, writing about a college essay. We are also, we also kind of participating to support him in the process, where if our students or any students write essays, we will be also helping him to evaluate students and then guiding them. But his resources are wonderful in terms of step-by-step, he's explaining what to do and everything. Now, as you know, our English teachers are also providing a lot of support, but since with the epidemic, students are not getting the maximum out of the school, I guess this is a great resource. Now, how are you going to find that? Both Syracuse and Utica, we have sent emails how to sign up for this event, which is starting next Monday. Don't leave it to the last minute. If you can, if you're watching it right now live or in the next couple of days, please try to find that email, go into this resource, and then you will be able to get the support next week. There's going to be 3 days, Monday, Wednesday, Friday of the instruction, and Tuesday, Thursday are going to be homeworks. Making your own drafts and making a lot of progress. I couldn't find the exact link here, but maybe online resource. I'm not even sure, but it's in the
It's right at the top. It says my Summary College Essay Application Bootcamp is open for registration.
Here, okay, all right, wonderful. If you click that orange stripe over there, you
Mhm.
can either register, or if you are already being registered by email, you could either or be a part of this program. Okay. And I believe Syracuse students already have a username and password, but regardless, you have an invitation. You can come here and then make sure that you are a part of this wonderful program. It's a great program since we are at a time right now with epidemic, and we can't really do too much in the school. So I really like this program at this time.
Absolutely. So it's a great program, and if you
Yeah.
have time, I think you should definitely participate in that program. Um,
The
the
next,
second
the
part,
next, yeah, recommendation letter. Mr.
yes,
Kawar, would you, yeah, please
sure.
continue.
I'll go ahead and then you can add. So recommendation letters are the second important written document that we're gonna submit into the you're gonna submit to your with your college applications. So recommendation letters are generally written by your teachers, which therefore you need to be really making sure you need to be make sure your teachers know you very well, your interests very well, and what particular college you're going to, and even the what major you're going to. They should know about all those things. The brag sheets are recommended for this. Like you put all those information on a brag sheet, and then you give it to your teacher. So and your teacher will write the recommendation letter based on your brag sheet. Generally, I recommend 10, 15 minutes of individual conversation with your teacher before you ask for a recommendation letter. Hey, Mr. So and so or Mrs. So and so, I'm looking for a recommendation letter from you, and this is the college that actually I wanna go, and then this is the major that I'm going to choose. So could you write me a recommendation letter? uh, Type of conversation would be a great starter. And at least you need to ask three different teachers. Like you need to pick and choose three different teachers. And let me give you an example. Let's say you are going for a nursing degree. The first recommendation from me would be go find the science teachers and then ask for them a recommendation letter, especially chemistry, biology teachers. Those are the ones that that you need, not must, but you should recommend it. You should go for those. And third one could be a senior teacher or the teacher that you like the most during the high school year, even the middle school would be okay. But the high school is more recommended than the, the middle school teachers. So you should definitely go for the science teachers if you're going for the nursing major. Let's say you're going for an engineering, a math teacher, and the physics teachers would be a great ideal recommenders for you. And other than that, those recommendation letters generally done online, and then they just directly submit it to the college. And therefore, if you have plans to ask for a recommendation letter down the road in your senior year or junior year, you need to be well behaved in their classes, and you need to have the good relationship with the teachers, because you don't want to have well, most of our staff will not write you a bad recommendation letter, but if they are willing to do that for you, I think you will get the better recommendation letter than just being an average student in that class and then just go for ask for it because you just need to ask for it.
Yeah,
You need to
that's right.
do your homework on time. You don't need to create any problems in the class. And I'm not saying you need to be the teacher's pet, but you need to have a good relationship with that teacher. Uh, you know, and you can ask for a recommendation letter and you get a great recommendation letter from those teachers.
Yeah. And
Strauss?
out of many teachers, you don't ask the teacher who is your favorite teacher. They're trying to find the teacher that you are his or her favorite student. So you're not writing the letter, they're writing the letter. So you're going to find whoever is going to be making the most compliments. That's important. So you can make a lot of investment right now in terms of, as Mr. Khan said, try to be a better student right now as an investment for the letter of recommendation because they're going to write something that's going to affect your future. So, but there, I'll tell you this, I've read hundreds of letters of recommendations. I'll tell you this, teachers are honest. So not to write negative things, but even if they put the positives only, they can either put a couple positive things or 20 positive things, right? So that makes a lot of sense in the college. How much the teacher puts there is their reference. Now, I would like to say this: what is the difference between an essay and letter of recommendation? It's kind of obvious that one is written by the applicant, the other one is written by the teacher, but there's more to it. Now, essay is the voice of the students. Um, um, you know, you're not just an application. You're not just what's your name, what's your address, what's your GPA, what's your SAT, right? These are all the information talking about you, but who you are really is being reflected on the essay. So that's the essay part. So it's very important that it's your voice. How are you going to be heard? You're going to be heard by your essay. What is the letter of recommendation? Why is it important, right? The letter of recommendation is a professional insight from a teacher. Now, since you're going to college, right? Student is going to college to get the education. When they go there, what is his first job? Being a student. So, how do we know if he is the best student or not? Who can evaluate that? Could it be evaluated by if it's a student? Probably not, right? Or a coach, maybe just from an athlete's perspective. Even the counselor or principal, they are not your teachers, so they really want to see a letter of recommendation from one of the teachers. Two, minimum one. A lot of colleges are asking for two. Now, there's another piece that the school counselor writes something, but that's more like we'll talk about it here as well. But while what we've been talking about was the teacher letter of recommendation. Now, in terms of school counselor rights, you also type up something that's talking about what is your place within the school, and then what kind of which opportunities you have taken that was being offered to you, and then what are special highlights about you. This is important because colleges ask for it, and then they really want to see where you are compared to all other students. This is one thing that is important, but it's also different than the teacher recommendations because teachers are writing how you behave in the class. Do you do your work on time? Do you participate in the class, right? So both of the letters or reports have a different purpose. Both of them are important. I mean, you have only one college guidance, so you cannot choose from college guidances, but you can choose your teachers who's going to write you the letters of recommendation. Okay, I guess we talked a lot about letters of recommendation already. So now we'll talk about a little bit about the college list. Let me take this to correct.
Sure.
It's a process that's actually probably already being started a while ago. If the student is junior right now, and then he or she's attending the classes, which due to epidemic, we couldn't really make a lot of classes, but then did a couple of Zoom meetings that we try to help them. So college list starts for being formed even years before, like the students start thinking about which college is a good fit for me. We've been making a lot of college visits, college fairs. We are hoping that the student has some idea already about which college is a good fit for him, right? So, but let's assume that he doesn't know anything, right? So, what college is for someone who has no idea about anything about the college list. Now, there's so many colleges in the United States. There is over 4,000 colleges and universities, or over 4,000. Like, including all these small colleges in different campuses. from one resource is 4,500, right? There's so many colleges. Now, every college has different features. Some of them are big colleges, some of them are small in terms of campus size. And then they have different class sizes. Sometimes there's a big college whose class sizes are smaller than others, right? And then there's other colleges that are looks like too small, right? But then maybe like the class size is bigger, but it's usually tend to be very relatively same. So what's going to be the tuition costs? Before getting to the tuition costs, let's talk about campuses a little bit. It's not the size is not everything, right? What kind of a campus would you like to go? What type of a setting in terms of surroundings you want to live in? Like, would you like to be close to the city, which you can utilize the city, like the resources or the entertainment of the city, or would you like to be a little bit away from the city because like you would like the campus to be bigger, wider, greener, quieter, and everything? So it's really up to the students and their personality, like. And then you could think about, okay, SAS is a small school. Do you like to be in a small school, right? Then you can think about everyone knows you, all the teachers, all the students. Do you enjoy being known by everybody? Then you could say, okay, it was a great experience being in a small school. Let me think about going to a small school, right? That's another, comparison. Or you could say, I would like to get lost in the crowd. I don't want everyone to know me, right? Maybe like a little bit shy, or maybe not. You don't want to be socialized that much. No offense, right? Everyone has a different personality. So then you can think about a bigger college. So setting is one thing, the size is another thing. And then you can start thinking about different things about it, right? The weather, the distance to home. Like, would you like to be close to home? Because like you would like to commute? Because like you could save a lot of money by just commuting from home. Or you could say, okay, I want to be a little far, but then how far is going to be your decision. So all these things, all these questions will start, shaping your college list. Other questions you can ask yourself: do I want to be going to a private school or a public school? Right? Public schools are usually cheaper, but public schools are cheaper because those are SUNYs. They are being funded by the tax money, so they are much cheaper. But then private schools are more generous. So what means that if your GPA and SAT are very good, you can say, I'll go to a private school because private schools may come to free for me. It's especially good and true if the student has great GPA and good SAT scores. So I usually say and see for yourself when you get accepted. That's another part. Now, even though these are all our dreams, right? The size, the location, the commute or not commuting type of things are really like the students' dreams and choices. But when it comes to the reality, what is the tuition cost? Okay, that's also another important part because you may have, what's the best college around? Syracuse University is great. Are you going to be able to get a scholarship, right? It's not, are you going to be able to afford 60 grants per year? Probably not, right? So that's a problem. But now they are generous, we said, they can give you more scholarships. It's great. So apply, definitely. Like, it's not going to hurt you to apply, correct? Because SU has a lot of resources too. That's next meeting's topic. So here, we try to balance everything. If you want to apply to some expensive schools, try to apply for cheaper schools. If you want to apply to private schools, apply to a couple public schools. If you want to apply to out of town and out of state schools, try to apply for in town or in state schools or schools that are convenient for you or like it's close to home as a location, formatted schools. So why do I say like all these differences? Now students sometimes dream about things. Oh, I would like to go out of state. I want to experience something that is brand new in different state, a different set of people. But then when acceptances come, and now you see that it's very expensive. It's possible that you didn't get any scholarships. Then you can think about, okay, it was my dream, but reality I may have to go take a in-state school. So you never know. Still follow the dreams, apply for the schools that are your dreams, but always have a balancing factor and then apply for other things as a backup. Okay. There's other bunch of things. And then College Board has a great resource to narrow it down this way. Okay, I would like you to Google this. You can write it down, or you can open a new tab right now. How are you going to narrow down the college list? You can Google this: College Board space college search. Okay, College Board college search. You're going to be able to go to a tool that they have put all these 4,000 colleges into a database. You put your own ideas and your preferences. It's going to start narrowing down your choices. You can say New York State, the top 4,000 go down to 500, right? You already got rid of 3,500. You can say I would like to be going to college which is 50 miles from home, right? That sort of criteria. Then you start putting your majors and you start putting athletics and club choices that you may have. Then it's going to keep narrowing down. Then you'll find a good college, hopefully, or set of colleges that you would like to apply. Anything you would like to add, Mr. Kovar, about the list?
Well, list is important, and you should, as you said, narrow down to the 10 to 15 colleges, and then you should apply for those colleges, because each application is also requires a time, and the fee also. So that's the down part of it. But if you are fully reduced lunch, you may get a fee waiver from the school. We would provide you a fee waiver. But if you don't, so almost like every one of them has a fee of $45 to 60, 75, $85, almost 100. That's why, like, doing research before you start your applications, before you put out your applications, is important, and it will save you time and it will save you money.
Thank you for reminding that 10 colleges. And one last thing about the college list, our students should definitely apply to some REACH schools that are hard to get, right? Dream schools, REACH schools, maybe 5 of them, 3, 4, 5, maybe 3, 4, 5 of the match schools that looks like I can get accepted to the school, and 2, 3 maybe for those backup schools. You can distribute yourself, like think about 10 colleges. Then you can say 442, 334, whatever. Or you can apply to 12, 15. It's really up to you. But 10 is the ideal number. Don't go below 10. At least apply to 10 colleges. If you want to apply to more, and if you have free reduced lunch, it's not going to hurt you to apply to 15 colleges, right? So let's move on. Now there's 2 different types of applications here, 2, 3 like applications in terms of timing. Rolling admission is the admissions that you don't have any deadline, but for the colleges that are not always very rigorous, it's not usually the dream schools. Dream schools are always going with early decision and early action, or the regular decision. So you have to, if you're ready, if the student feels ready, at my letters of recommendation, I would like to be the early bird making applications to the colleges, then November 1st is a great time to complete your application. Because if you're early bird in terms of applying colleges, you'll get the responses early by December. So by December, you say, oh, I got accepted to this college and it was my dream school. So you're going to be relieved from the stress. So that's important. If the student is ready, right, in terms of completing all the applications, the essays, everything, thinking about all these things that we've been discussing and we will be discussing for the next half an hour, go for it. Now, there's quite a bit difference between early decision and early action, even though both of them are usually November 1st or November 15th. There's an important the difference. The early decision is, as you said, like as you can catch up from the word, it's binding. Early decision, you're deciding and you're promising that if you get accepted, you'll be enrolling to this college because you're going to drop all other applications. Okay, so the only way that you can break your early decision is the financial purposes or health reasons. Early action, on the other hand, it doesn't hurt usually because you apply early, it's not binding, you get accepted, you don't have to go. But early decision is binding, so if you're applying early decision, it's really important that you are aware of that. Am I still breaking, Mr. Kovar?
I think you're fine now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me skip these parts. Okay, would you like to take that,
Sure.
Kovar?
So overall, when we talk about the college applications, and when we say college applications, college application is the first thing is first. You need to fill out an application online, and we're gonna show how in the next slide. And before come to the application, you need to write an essay, and there are some options for these essays as we discussed. You need to have one major essay. You may ask for additional essays, supplemental essays, or there are some schools, they don't even ask for an essay. Example, NVCC and OCC, they don't ask for essay. They just want you to apply over there, and then they want you to send your transcript. So sending your transcript is also important. This is the because it's giving you what you did during the high school years. We talked about the transcripts a lot, so I'm not going to get into the details. You need to send your transcript. How are you going to send your transcript? You need to come to the college guidance office and ask for a copy to send it to the college that you applied. So it's that much easy. You're just gonna say, hey, Mr. Kaur or Mr. Oz, I applied this college. Could you please, send my transcript to that college? And after that, we will send your transcript to that college. As I mentioned before, you might need to pay a fee for the applications based on your income. If you are eligible for free reduced lunch, we might provide you a fee waiver, so you can apply freely to those colleges. And we discussed about the recommendation letters. Those are also going with your application. And the last thing, this is for actually the international students, financial support letters, affidavit support they call, and they might need you to send those letters also if you are an international student. So they're just looking for, are you able to pay this money if you come United States and then attend this college. So the next slide is generally, we're gonna show you how you can use the Common App. I think Mr. Oz, you have the account for Common App.
Yeah, I changed my device while I was waiting for you because I was breaking.
This one is better. This one is
okay.
better. Yeah, your
Okay.
voice is better now.
Yeah, I'm with the cell phone. T-Mobile.
That's good. That's good.
My background is better, I guess, huh? I feel in my office.
I like the one on your left.
Yep.
The burgundy one. Right? The burgundy one.
Yep. Sounds good.
Yep.
So let's go to, okay, here is, can you see my screen right now? I guess.
Yes, we are able to see.
Okay, this is common application. Now, once students go into the common application, sign up with it. It's important that you save the password because this is one of the websites that you keep going, maybe 20, 30 times throughout the year. And then this is one of the complicated passwords, all right? It's not as bad as FAFSA, but it's also like so many students lose it. So either make sure the computer saves it or you put it someplace so you don't have to keep creating accounts or losing your place. So here there's several different tabs. Dashboard is pretty much seeing what colleges you have put in your list, as well as where are you up to. And then I would like to start with going to the college search. Even though it's tab number 4, this is the place where you can add more colleges. So how about you're applying to Cornell? We say Cornell, it comes up here. You just click the plus, it's a part of your application now. I'm sorry? Okay, so you can add as many colleges as you want, but you cannot apply more than 20. So 20 colleges is the number here in terms of how many colleges you can submit your application. You can list 30, it's okay, but your limit for applying through Common App is 20. Now, Common App is not the only one. There's also Coalition App. You can apply to a number of other colleges, but 20 is usually enough. However, sometimes students says, oh, I applied to 20, but I need one more right now. What am I going to do? And my college doesn't have, their own application. They can check the coalition app. Anyway, so college search is pretty much adding more colleges. Dashboard is seeing the list and then seeing all these details if you started in progress or completed and submitted, right? Now, the other two tabs, these are more important tabs. I'm going to start with Common App itself because this is the application that there's a bunch of questions here. You start with your profile, your personal information. Then you put your family information. They want to see if the student's first generation, if the student has how many siblings, how many of those siblings, and then the parents, if they're going to college, are going to college, right? Education is pretty much your school, either SAS or UDCAT, talking about what you've done so far, what classes you have taken, who's your guidance counselor, if they need to reach the guidance counselor, stuff like that. The testing part is your SAT, ACT testing. If the student's taking TOEFL, that's a part of the testing as well. Activities. I'm gonna click this. This is also important. We kind of talked about it last week. They let you apply, put up to 10 activities here. So if the student start making this list right now, by the time that they come to common application, they can see how many activities you've been involved with, right? A lot of students says, oh, I was a part of athletics. I played basketball and nothing else. But then, you were given the opportunity of 10 space. Why don't you use them, right? So it's important that you try to put as many of them as possible. Now, if you start thinking, things will start coming, like community engagement. A lot of times, students do a lot of things in the community, but they forget. Sometimes they have family responsibilities, like looking after the kids, even sometimes cooking, right? So there's a bunch of different things that the students usually forget about it, or they consider, oh, that's not an activity, that's a part of my life. Yes, but it's better than playing video games, right? So definitely, they want to see that. Working. So why is working important? We kind of indicated last week. It is a responsibility, right? The student is taking this responsibility, and then just kidding, right? They are not getting fired, so they know their responsibilities. So if the student has been working for some place for 7 months, they can stable. They know the responsibilities. They do their job, right? It has a lot of meanings. The sports is kind of obvious. Art, clubs, music, and all these things, and sometimes other things that's meaningful to you, such as, all right, student has nothing to do with private lessons or anything, but just for yourself, you're trying to learn how to play guitar. Okay, this is great. I mean, this is an activity. Activity doesn't have to mean you did something in the school or you did something outside. No, you did it yourself, but it was meaningful to you and you want to put it up. Okay, sometimes student has more than 10. What are you going to do then? You put the top 10, the most important 10 in this list, and then the students can upload a resume under writing. Writing is an optional question at the end of those writings. It's going to say, would you like to upload any documents, any resumes, like additional resource, additional things that you would like to support your application? That's a part of the writing section. All right, then I'll click the writing. This is the part that you write the essay. You put the essay. It says some colleges requires the essay, some colleges doesn't. But you see, most colleges requires them. And then there's 5 or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's 7 different questions here to pick from. You could pick anything, any questions here. Minimum of 250 and a maximum of 650. You may, or the student may, write their essay. And then a lot of students write their essays first, which is fine. And then every essay that I've seen will fit into one of these questions, especially the last one. It says share a topic of your choice. All right, so they're pretty flexible with that. And you copy and paste your essay here. It's asking a couple questions about discipline. If it is not a major thing, oh, I got demerit points. I got suspended over the weekend because I was started to class. They don't count, right? You don't write these small things. But if there was a fight or anything big, I hope that never happens to anyone. You're historically well, in terms of discipline. So I hope no one needs to worry about that, and additional info is here. So practically, right, common application tab is putting all this information. And then the last thing is clicking on your My Colleges and then answering supplemental questions here, because each college says, all right, okay, Common App is good. They have 100 different questions, which you do it only once. But then we have a couple extra questions. Things like, okay, are you interested in extra financial aid? Are you interested in, let's see, I'm just trying to remember the questions, but things like, all right, are you interested in the UOP or HUOP program? All right, which term are you applying? Are you applying for the early action or, fall semester, spring semester, things like that. So then you just submit it here. Like after completing everything, you're gonna come here and submit your application here. This is the part that you're gonna have to complete your application, make the payments if you have to, and then submit your application. Mr. Kovar, would you like to add anything here?
No, actually the column, Common App is straightforward, and then it's self-explanatory for the most part. And when they have any questions or any problems, actually we go together with them, step by step, and then we do it with them. So I don't think we will have any problems completing the common application together. There is one thing related with the common application. If you get accepted, there is no notification. So the college actually notifies you via email or their own portal or a mail package to home. So that's why you can submit your applications via Common App, but you cannot know if you get accepted or not. And one more thing about the Common App, if you forgot your password or the username, the counselors, we don't have power to reset your password or find out which email address that you used to create the account. So whatever email you're using and whatever password that you're using, you should note it somewhere, and then you should keep it somewhere safe so you can go back and then check it if it is needed. And most of the times right now Chrome has a function that you can just save your passwords and everything, so you can keep it there also. It is recommended. And we also have a different platform that we are using internally. The ask for recommendation letters and then submit your transcripts to colleges that you are applying. That called it SCORE. Actually, you will be getting a detailed presentation on that once we start the school next year. Or we can maybe record a video and also share that with you, so we can go from there. Mr. Wells, I think we have completed.
Yeah, like I just want to add one last thing
Okay.
before finishing this process.
Mm-hmm.
Financially, you didn't talk about financial aid part. Just a couple notes actually. I said one, but it's just keep coming to me right now. The financial aid part is, we're going to talk about next week. So we didn't include anything. I just want to summarize what we did. Students start writing an essay, completing their common application, asking the teachers to write their letters of recommendation. Then they complete this common application, and then they submit. Submitting doesn't mean that everything is over. Then the next step comes up. What's the next step? Student needs to follow up their, application. So we usually tell students, just give them a couple of weeks, 2 to 3 weeks for colleges to process all these documents. Why 3 weeks? It's practically because think about, how many applicants that they're getting, right? They have an office. They have an office of,
Admissions.
Admission office has also a couple of people that processes their paperwork, but there's only a couple of people here, and then they have hundreds and sometimes thousands of documents that they get. They file them, they categorize them, whatever they do, but it takes 2 to 3 weeks, and it really takes that much time. even for a small college, sometimes you see that it's technically, like practically taking those 2 to 3 weeks. So that's why, um, right after they complete their application, they tell us, Mr. Oz, Mr. Kowar, I've completed my application. Can you please send the documents? So what we do is we send the transcripts, and then as well as teacher recommendations comes to us, we send them all together to the colleges at the top of the guidance counselor report. Okay, so we send them out, and then we, that everything is being sent. Give them 2 to 3 weeks, and then you don't have to wait for 2 to 3 weeks. Like after 1 week, you can start checking, right? But you say like three weeks passed, and it is still something is wrong, something is missing. Then it's time for you to worry. But 2 weeks later or 1 week later, oh, my transcript still doesn't show up here. What am I gonna do? No worries. Okay, so you have to be patient. That takes process. That takes time. Now, how are you gonna check the status of the application? Now, number one, the easiest, not the easiest, but obviously the shortcut, it looks like, is calling the college. Now, when the student calls the college, you say, what's the status? Can you please check what's the status of my application? Now, there's a couple benefits of this. Number one, you learn the status of your application. Number two, you are showing interest, right? You're showing interest to the colleges. You're following up your documents. You're saying that, right? I'm calling. I'm following up my documents. You're showing some extra traits that you weren't able to show as a part of your application. So they like it. They call it demonstrated interest. They are calling that, yes, the student is a serious student. We didn't have to reach him or her. She or he is reaching us to check the status of the application. This is kind of nice that you are really calling them, because believe it or not, they try to record every single attempt that you made to reach the college, either within an email or making the calls, even the campus visits. They track them. They keep track of them. Like, they cannot be perfectly keep track of them because they're getting so many calls and emails, but they do their best to keep track of them. Okay, so it's nice. Number two, every college with the technology, right? After you complete your application, they send you a username and a password, sometimes a link that you can create your own password to your emails. Okay, so when you click those links and whatever is necessary, you are being forwarded or going to an account, a platform that you can go there. It's a part of admissions, and it's a platform that you can see what is being processed, what is missing. Okay, so what is missing is what could be missing. Maybe the transcript they didn't get. Maybe the SAT scores is they didn't get the SAT scores. So in that case, you just take the step and then reach us or reach College Board. That's another one, right? SAT, we didn't talk about it too much because most of the colleges is optional next year. Not all colleges though, but most of the colleges are giving it optional. So when the time comes, you're going to be able to see what is missing. And now you're going to follow up with that. If the transcript is missing, and if it is already 3 weeks or at least 2 weeks, you can come to us and say, Mr. Az, Mr. Kowar, my transcript is still missing. Can you please check? So we can see if there's something wrong. So you keep following up, right? And then when you get accepted, that's another process we will talk as when the student gets to senior. Then there's more documents will be required. This platform, you're gonna be able to keep going and then checking what is missing. And then you're gonna be able to keep track of what has been missing. There's gonna be a great opportunity for you to make sure that you are up to your tasks or you're at the top of your game. So
because you did a lot, just because of a missing document, we don't want your application to be kind of put it under the other files, and then you may lose chance to getting into that college. So that's why it is kind of important and kind of your job to keep up with whatever it's needed. And if there is any document or anything that you need to do, and if you don't know how to do it, you can always come to us and we will find a way and solution together to solve that problem ASAP. So you can finalize your application, and then you can be the candidate for the upcoming year for that college, particularly that you applied for. So overall, I think this concludes our presentation. If you have any questions, you may use chat box.
I'm going to stop recording right now. After I
Yeah.
stop recording, we can even get the microphones for
Sure.
the people who are watching the recording. Thank you very much. You can always reach us with our emails so that you can always feel free to reach us and then ask any questions. Thank you very much, and see you next time.